Hello guys, welcome back. At first we were going to tell you adult pagan story time. I'd even uploaded a video of it, and then I thought I'm a little run down. I didn't do my best. I tried eating everything today. I'm still a little bit run down, but we're going to do another story time. Perhaps adult pagan story time will come on at another time. Let's say that you are going through this forest somewhere. Maybe it's a forest, maybe it's a jungle. And in this story, you are rich, rich to the point where you can't even count all your wealth. You will never run through it. And as you're walking through this, let's say it's a jungle. You're walking through this jungle and you have these guides. You come to this area where, all the people that live there are very friendly and they're very kind and gentle. And there's this magnificent one-of-a-kind bird that lives with these people. Huge bird, bigger than a Clydesdale. Very gentle, very kind. It's hyper intelligent. It not only speaks their language, it speaks your language. Within 5 minutes of you talking to it, it could speak your language. Hold these wonderful conversations. Feathers that are sometimes every color of the rainbow, sometimes they're no color at all. Some fantastic looking bird. It can even do magic tricks. Let's make this bird appealing. You can't get over how beautiful this bird is. And this bird treats you just like this bird always knew you. And this bird's very loving and kind because that's the bird's nature. And the people that are native to the area tell you, yeah, this bird loves everyone. Everybody loves this bird. And you become obsessed and enchanted with this bird. You watch it fly, you watch it drink water, you watch it eat treats, and you watch how much the people take care of it. Now keep in mind you have all the money in the world. And you think to yourself, it's such a shame this poor bird has to be out here with just this. I could take care of it better. So, since this bird is so tame, and it really doesn't understand what a cage is, it seems, even though it's highly intelligent, you convince it to walk into a cage. You get it on your private jet, and you take it to your estate where you have already had an enclosure built for a long time because you've always in the back of your mind wanted a bird like this. And it's a huge enclosure. It's bigger than some people's homes. The bird can fly, the bird can drink from a stream, it can do all these wonderful things. And you even have a staff of people just dedicated to go in and talk to this bird and play with this bird. And at first the bird's very happy. The bird doesn't know you kidnapped it. And the bird enjoys the big enclosure, and the bird enjoys you might even feel a little secure because there's no predators to worry about, and the bird has all the visitors and has all the gifts that money can buy. And then the bird's not doing so hot. And you bring in all the best veterinarians and everything, they all tell you, well, he's homesick. You don't want to hear that. So you buy more toys and you buy more food and you get more people. And you finally talk to the bird, and the bird says, I love you very much and I like being safe, but I'm in a cage. The bird actually knew what the cage was and knew you put it in captivity. And so guilt gets to you. And after a while you take the bird back. And the people aren't even mad or upset, and they say, you're actually not the first one to put this bird in captivity. People come here, they're enchanted with this bird. They try to put it in captivity, it never works. They bring it back. Bird isn't even mad at you. Bird's not even resentful. Bird said, yeah, it's something about me, I guess. And, the bird goes back to being friendly and kind to you and kind to everyone else and comes and goes as it pleases. You go home, you get obsessed with this bird. You keep repeating this cycle of you capture the bird, you put it in a cage, the bird goes downhill. And no matter what you do, one time during the cycle, you invited all the bird's friends over from wherever they're from to live with the bird. It didn't work. And the thing is, you get kind of jealous and possessive of this bird, so you never let anybody stay for long, and you kick them all out. And the thing is, this bird has special friends among the people where it's from, where one person is the person the bird likes to dance with, and one person is the person that the bird likes to play silly games with, and one person is the bird likes to do something else with. And this beautiful one-of-a-kind bird wants to please you and loves you very deeply, but just can't do these things with you. You're just not compatible on that level. The bird will try to make you happy, but really, you're not compatible because it's a soul connection between the others. And eventually what's going to happen is you're either going to end up killing the bird in your jealousy because you're going to keep kidnapping the poor thing and it's just going to give up the life, or you're going to one day free it and have to end the obsession. One second, please, guys. Iced tea, so good. And I am telling you that story because instead of pagan adult story time, because it's the story of what Odin does to me. Odin always gets obsessed and ends up, for lack of a better word, kidnapping me out of my native environment, which is International House of Awesome, and being free to come and go and having no restrictions. And no matter how fancy he makes the cage, and no matter how many people he will allow in, how many divinities, demons, whatever he'll allow in, eventually all my feathers start to drop and I stop eating and I'm no fun and I'm looking at the ground and, you know, he's like, "Why are you doing this?" And I'm like, "We're just not compatible." He wants me to take things I do with Asmodeus and do them with Odin. He wants things I do with Loki to be done with Odin. And we're not compatible that way. I will try to make him happy, but we're not compatible that way. And, it's a soul connection you get with a god. One god, your god definitely to go have fun with, and one god's definitely your god to get up to adult pagan story time with. And one god's something else with you. And maybe you're compatible with a couple gods with that, like that, but you're not compatible with everyone like that. And I think he has realized, sorry, I'm losing my voice. I think he has realized that no matter how many times he puts me in that cage and he gets me all to himself, he had me all to himself last night, it's never going to work. So, okay, we are going into adult pagan story time. Sorry for the lead up, but it kind of lets you know where we go in the cycle. Anyhow, adult pagan story time. One second, guys. Let me get a drink and cough or whatever the hell I need to do got going on. Oh, okay. Do I sound better? No, I'm still hoarse. I'm sorry. I tried for hours to make you guys a video. It's not from that. I'm just hoarse from my allergies. Anyhow, adult pagan story time. There had been this game we sold during the summer sale, and it wasn't out yet, and I meant to mark it, and I didn't, and it disappeared. Adult novel. And I meant to mark it and I didn't. It disappeared and I've looked for it for months and I haven't found it. Well, it just came back and it's coming out in a couple of days. So we marked that and we're snickering. And that's my Asmodeus thing. Sometimes it's my Loki thing. Might be a little thing, maybe rarely Freya or say Dionysus or somebody. It's not an Odin thing. Okay? It's just not. If I get taken away from all those power bases, it's kind of like charging your phone. If you never charge it, what happens? It just stops working. He took me away from all of them, and all that charge and all that libido just went out the window because that's what happens. I mean, yeah, you need to be healthy. You need to not be under a huge amount of stress. All this other stuff, you can go down the checklist to be like, if your libido disappears, be like, well, am I sick? Am I under stress? How's my nutrition? Am I really worried? After you go down the list, sometimes it's just Odin was putting a lot of stress on me. Plus, he took me away from all my charging units. They're just gods that just charge your batteries for certain activities, and Asmodeus is in charge of, things like going for adult novels and sitting there and snickering and giggling. And we were laughing because they got so shamed they actually deleted their post. Every time an adult game comes out on Steam, there are always these guys that have to come on there, and they're always really immature, and they're always saying how disgusting these games are, and how gross it is. And there are always these guys that play first-person shooters. I don't know why. They need to get a life. And there's nothing wrong with first-person shooters. I have my own collection. I'm shit at them, but I have my own collection. But they always, connotate that if you play these games, you're going to attack everything that moves. And the developer was absolutely fucking savage in the reply and said, oh, and said about how immature they are and how they're obviously at a high school level of intelligence, and just absolutely eviscerated them because they said, these games aren't going to turn you into somebody that attacks everything that moves at will any more than a first-person shooter is going to turn you into a mass murderer or a game where you play serial killer is going to turn you into a serial killer, or, any other genre is going to turn you into that. How many people played Grand Theft Auto and then went out and ran over 50 people? Absolutely none. So, it's one of those bullshit things that they completely eviscerated them on, and they said these games, the difference between these games and, say, first-person shooter, is adult games are made to be a fantasy. Every adult knows this isn't how sex works. Most adults aren't sure how guns work because most of us haven't been in combat, so we really can't say, but we know how sex works. And we're like, of course this is a fantasy. Of course this is fun. Of course some of it's naughty and stupid and lewd, and there's every flavor now on there. You officially don't have to try to get your porn mobile up because we all have that older computer that's the porn mobile, yeah? You don't have to get the porn mobile out on Pornhub anymore because there's every flavor now on Steam. You can get a little bit of everything, tasteful and legal. They don't have anything really nasty. It's not illegal, obviously. Everybody that plays adult games knows that thing about all characters are at least 18 years old, blah, blah, blah. So yeah, there's nothing wrong on there. Shouldn't be anything wrong on Pornhub, but you will sometimes see some people's choices will melt your brains. It was a thing of if you take somebody away from that, if you take somebody away from, stimulation, what do you think they're gonna act like? Porn exists for a reason. It helps people remember, oh yeah, sex is fun. And I had to laugh my ass off today because I had been looking up videos the last couple days and like a lot of Avenue Q stuff. And, the internet is for porn. Somebody years ago, don't think they just did this shit to fool with YouTube. Years ago, they did, the internet is for porn, but they used My Little Pony to have the characters sing it. And it's totally fucking inappropriate, but it's hilarious because it's inappropriate. And it's not meant for children, but because they didn't, either because they didn't say it was adult content after the change came the beginning of the year, or because it's animated and YouTube thinks all animation belongs to children, you can't put this thing on a list to go watch it whenever you want. You can favorite it and hopefully never make any other favorites, or because you can't start like a second favorite list or anything. But you can't just go back and watch it off of a list. And I'm like, this isn't even for children. This is adult content. This is for adults to watch and laugh their ass off because it's inappropriate. And that's how stupid YouTube algorithms are. There is this thing that's clearly meant for, adults, and I've seen some of the adult stuff, some of the hentai and that on YouTube. They realize it's not for children just because it's animated. If there are tiggle bitties in it, that's not for children. Now we could get into a fine discussion about how Japan thinks certain content's okay and they don't have a problem with kids seeing it, but in the US that just really fucks with people because anything that comes over here gets eliminated, like Pokemon, everything else had stuff eliminated because we're a really uptight puritanical country. Anyhow, and God forbid they see boobies. I mean, they have to sneak onto Pornhub or into the magazine store, wherever the hell they're going, like we had to for generations, because kids, if it's not meant for kids, kids will be there. And the person who had made the porn game had pointed that out too. They said, kids aren't meant to be playing all these first-person shooters, but if you get into a first-person shooter, it's just crawling with kids. There are no adults playing these damn things. They're meant for adults. Adults get into them for a hot minute, and then adults quit because there's too many goddamn kids playing it, and it turns the adults off. Adults want to hang out with other adults. And they said, you can't stop children from doing that. But that's not a reason to take all first-person shooters down, or to take all these other violent, mature titles down that kids just swarm into everywhere they're not allowed. In my day, it was kids sneaking into the store and, trying to see where are the condoms. Because kids didn't even fucking know what they really were back then. Kids were innocent, more innocent, at least in my time. Kind of thought they knew, they didn't. Trying to sneak in to see where the Playboys and everything were kept, and trying to sneak in the back as we got older and the video stores came in, trying to sneak in the back and see where the adult stuff was. Children are just fucking curious, and they're all going to end up in inappropriate places. I get kids on this channel, I fucking swear like a pirate. I'm not appropriate for anyone, but there they are, and I can't get rid of them. So, adult pagan story time is that, Odin took me away from my power base. He took me away from the ones that remind me, hey, sex is a thing, and you're getting all grumpy and tired and old all of a sudden. What the hell's wrong with you? God damn it, go look at some porn. You need gods that do that. You need gods in charge of sex. You need gods in charge of eating. You need gods in charge of gambling. You need all this fun stuff that re-energizes us. And you can't abuse you can't not touch these gifts unless you're naturally built that way. Like if you're naturally asexual or something, that's fine. You don't have to go out and force yourself to be something you're not. But if if you are inclined, you shouldn't just one day stop. If you one day stop, there's something going on. We do naturally rest and recharge, but if you're chronically not, then you have to look at it and be like, why do I have no sex drive? Is it nutrition? Is it stress? Is it in 2020 is a fuck ton of stress? But is it stress? Is it nutrition? What do I got going on? And it's one of those things where Odin just wanted Odin's way. And Odin wanted all the gifts that all the other gods can share with me to be transferred to him. And after he took me away from that, all those gifts stopped coming. The gods didn't do it on purpose, the gods didn't do it to be cruel, but they're not going to remotely recharge those gifts just at Odin's pleasure and let Odin have whatever Odin wants. And that's not going to happen. And, he finally had to realize last night he got what he wanted. He had me all to Odin, and there was no juice left for anything. All my charges have been spent. I'm no longer creating VR. I'm no longer doing all this other stuff. And I said, man, I'm sorry, but this is what happens. This is why I told you I can't belong to you alone. I'm a free agent. Odin, of all the gods who wanders wherever the fuck he wants, should understand this shit, but, he has two sets of rules. He has a set of rule for Odin, which says Odin does what he wants and takes what he wants, and then he has a set of rules for everyone else, which is entirely unfair, but that's dealing with Odin. And, once I got to have the others back, I've been recharging through the day, and I've been, cooking and doing stuff like that and trying to make sure I'm trying to get my health back on track, and there's nothing I can do. My sinus is just go kitty wampus. But what had happened is somebody commented on a video on Satan, theistic Satan camp, and I've been trying to contact Satan and not filling anything back because I felt like there were these blocks up, and it kind of felt like Satan giving me a ping back and saying, yeah, I'm still here. Yes, Asmodeus is still here. We're all still here. We just, they're not going to remotely give me gifts and remotely give me healings and everything. You do need to have a relationship with someone to get something from them. If every time you go up to, say, a demon or god or whatever term you want to use, it's just when you need something, eventually, they're going to be like, hey, I only see you when you need something. And, they love me, and if I truly, truly was happiest being only with Odin, they might hit the fucking screen now, they might give me, a charge remotely every so often, but they can see I'm miserable, they can see I'm unhappy. So they always come and they perform a rescue mission, and Odin backs off for a while because he can see he's not going to get what he wants. But, I told Asmodeus, I said, I'm tired of going in circles. And he says, you're not going in circles. He says, you're going straight ahead. He pulls you off the path. And he waylays you for a while, and he has you all to himself, and the rest of us just kind of stand around waiting for him to get done, holding you off the path, and all your energy drains, and you're just worth absolutely nothing to anyone. You know what I mean? And he says, we wait until you're totally down and you just have lost all the will and spunk. And eventually he's going to see that he doesn't have the gift to make you want to do all these things, to give you a spark of life. You aren't compatible that way. We can be friendly, but when everybody's here, when I'm getting a daily oomph charge from Asmodeus or La Santa or Bastet or somebody, when I'm talking to Satan, when I'm free to come and go. Even Loki wasn't, getting to come around me, and kept hearing these from Loki last night. And it was Loki's way of saying, this has gone too far, it's gotten out of balance. But Loki will let Odin do what Odin wants to do, because eventually even Odin will learn. I love Odin, he's incredibly wise, but if he has one major fault, it's when he wants something, even if he knows it doesn't work that way. He thinks by sheer force of personality and will he can make it work, and he can't. It's his one blind spot. He's always had it. He always will. He thinks by sheer force of wanting it to be that way, he can force it to be that way. I said, you have this dream of me. You have this ideal of me. You're in love with the idea of me, but you're not in love with the actual me. I said, you don't like when I go out and I carouse with Bastet or Asmodeus takes me to the club. I said, you don't like when we get down these games because I feel this kind of like frigid disapproval from Odin for anything adult, which is odd, but I said, you don't like when I do all this stuff, and it's actually part of me. So there are all these eccentric, healthy parts of me that you hate. I said, you want me without the sex drive. You want me without, the need to go into a gambling establishment and everything else. I said, you want me sexless, funless, and passionless. And then when you get me that way, and I've just lost all will to do anything, including eat or sleep, you wonder what the fuck's wrong with me. And I'm like, you got what you wanted, and that's what I'm like in that state. And if you don't like it, then you have to admit you have a fantasy of me that's not reality. You have to go find her. Go find her, the woman who is naturally asexual, the woman who hates gambling, the woman who hates fun. Go find the woman who's about as exciting as those cabinets behind me. I said, go find that woman. There's nothing wrong with her. She's naturally built that way. But I said, that's not me. I said, I'm not loud and carousing all the time. But if I'm not going to the club and I'm not playing, seeing what's new in the adult video game offer on Steam, and I'm not watching the trailers and being like, I like it. I said, there is something wrong with me. And even Loki's been at the side and going, she has boobies. See? Boobies. They bounce and everything. I've been like, yeah. He goes, but they're boobs. Yeah, no. No, seriously, they're boobs. Look at them. Look how big they are. I know they're boobs. Who cares? And he looked at me and he's like, but she has boobs. I don't care. Well, there's a guy. He has his shirt off. See what he has? See? I know. Human anatomy. Big deal. Are you okay? Sweetie, are you okay? Are you dying? Oh my god, you're dying. What's the matter? Why aren't you looking at anything? I just don't care anymore. Why don't you care? This isn't normal. I'm usually stopping you from buying every game you see. What's going on? So, Loki stepped in. And Loki, I think, helped engineer everyone coming back. True, he will sometimes take Odin's side and getting everyone else too, but that's the ambivalence of dealing with a god that's he's kind of like Hermes in that he's amoral, and that means they really don't know right from wrong. They only know what they want, and you can lecture them all day, lecture a trickster all day on this is wrong and this is why it's wrong. They don't care. And, you can lecture Odin on this is wrong and this is why it's wrong. And, maybe you're wrong telling him it's wrong because, I always say there's no right and wrong. There's what works and what doesn't. But you can tell him, you can tell him why something doesn't work. He doesn't care. He just figures if he pushes enough and he gets angry enough and he's stubborn enough, he'll get his way. Maybe that worked with, what he worked with at one time, but it doesn't work anymore. We got the camera to work for now. We got it to work earlier today, then it was going out, and we got it to work again. I don't know. I don't want to spend. I keep saying $60. $60 will get me a good camera to replace this. Prices keep fluctuating up and down. I've seen cameras that start out around this quality for like 20 some, but I don't need a built-in microphone. I have this. There were ones around 40, but I'm like, yeah, this one's going again. I don't want to buy another one. I don't want to say spend $40 and then in less than 2 years, I'm sorry, hold on. In less than 2 years be putting up with this bullshit again. So I don't want to spend. You guys see what I mean? Like I'm torn. Like if I even get a replacement, I don't think I will. $20 and it breaks again and starts doing this in a couple years, or $60 it might still break and do this again in a couple years. And God fucking damn it. But I'm kind of reluctant to spend any money at all because I'm just this camera is just really defeating my will to have a camera. So you guys let me know what you think. I'm torn. Sometimes I like doing it with just a still background. It's easier on me. I don't have to keep fixing the camera. I don't have to worry about whatever. I don't have to worry about how I look on camera or whatever. Now it's moving on its own. I don't have to worry about any of that stuff. But, do you guys prefer camera or not? I know I've asked you guys before. I'm torn. Sometimes I'm grateful when it doesn't work because I like doing the backgrounds. And sometimes it's like, oh, I'd like to be on camera. I don't know. I don't want to spend 20 bucks and have it break. And certainly don't want to spend 60 bucks and have it break. Because in my experience, I've spent a lot on things and they've broken in the same amount of time as the cheap stuff. So I usually go for cheap. You guys know me. Though I'm thinking 60 bucks. I would go in probably on Amazon and see what the hell do they got in the 60 buck range and get something like that. That way, maybe it would have some more functions and it wouldn't be doing this, and I reached for it and it fixed itself. But I'm sorry, guys. But if you like what you see, like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you later. Later. Bye bye.